has had grown in a very organic way, and it has 30 artist works. Obviously, this exhibition, if you want to do a thorough walkthrough, it would take more than 1.5 hours, so we are not going to do that. But I'm going to present the gist of this exhibition to you and take you through some works. And of course, having these young artists here, it will help and add to know more about their works in here. So, my whole idea was that we were doing different kinds of exhibitions, because the idea for the museum is to cultivate different kinds of sensibilities and not do just one kind of show. If one was a political driven show, the other was more socially engaged exhibition. I wanted to do something which is much more in the purview of creativity and how creativity functions. For instance, when we say construct, the whole idea is that creative idea begins with a mental image or a mental thought. And most of us are artists still there. We all have our mental thoughts and mental ideas, but we are not able to process them into some manifested material physical form, which is what artists are able to do. And there is a very interesting passage or journey between, the play between a mental idea and a material form. And construction is basically that kind of a journey which I wanted to trace in some of the artists' work. And what has really transpired here is that a lot of works are from the KNMA collection, and some are more added there to really enhance the visual experience and the story as such. And I feel that what Kiran was also saying, and what Ritu also hinted and you hinted, that the idea that we see so much in the everyday which we do not relate with art at all. For instance, staple pins or ropes or ties or any other material like that, or an object. And how artists can really bring those things into the realm of creativity and artistic expression is really wonderful. And I think more than anything, this exhibition dispels the myth that art is a particular thing. That when you say art, the notion must be a painting on the wall. It is not. And I think the other thing that these young artists do is they also make you think what art is and what art is not. And that question we must ask ourselves, because if it is the same thing that all artists in the end want to communicate an idea, a feeling, an emotion, an issue to you, then you have to see whether that thought is processed well or not. That is what it leads to. So I'm going to quickly lead you first to Zarina's work and then take you on to bigger projects. That the translation of a creative idea in contemporary times is always big, like Talmud's work, as you see just next door. It's big, it's physical, it has a big form, it is inspired by architecture. So is Zarina's work. Now Zarina is a senior artist. She was born in Aligarh, and then she traveled many different countries and continents and finally settled in Europe. Okay? So she works with this notion of being a diasporic artist who does not live anymore in India, who also works with the notion of lack of home and displacement, because she never was able to have a home, a stability of a home anywhere. But living in many places, building many homes, finally she realized that home is something where you live, where you are, where you reside. But when you see this series of prints, it's called Home is a Foreign Place. Yes, home is a foreign place. And why I'm very interested in Zarina's work, there's another work of Zarina behind you also. I'm interested in Zarina's work because she reduces this whole thing about an experience of home into few bare lines. And yet, each frame is loaded with meanings. Now, these meanings are difficult to read if you do not understand Urdu, because that is also plain. Urdu is a lost language. Home is a lost concept, something that she lost. But every time she makes works, she is referring to her father's house, Aligarh mein, ancestral home. because she has carried that construct, that mental image in her mind. Now that home is gone, it's completely erased, it no more exists, but it exists as an idea in her mind. And for so many years, for the last 50 years, she has been addressing the notion of home. Okay? So now it starts with her, and this is a small plan of her, which is an abstract little architectural or design, let's say, or a layout. Then it goes on to many things, darwaza, okay, entrance, courtyard, diwar, and you can see barish, okay, andhi, badal. It is actually a decoding of those times. And what I found very interesting, when she was showing these works in the US, people would come and be very fascinated by seeing what she's doing. And then she would have made a very simple curtain, and she would call it parda. And they would not be able to translate it literally in English. For instance, Vehshat. Vehshat kya hai? Terror. Is it terror? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? Whatever it is, there is no easy translation of it down. Okay? So now Zarina works in this kind of a very minimal lines, and that abstraction is got very loaded with meanings. For instance, when you look behind, she has collages of houses. And in houses, the first one, which is very important for me, is that the first one from the left, and the first one where you have a border line, which is what? Yeah, but more than that, it is, of course it is lightning. That is the fun part. The Hojo border hai, that is the border between Pakistan and India. And when the way he has placed it, it is like saying it is zameen pe bijli gir gayi hai aur darar ho gayi hai. Okay, और वो जो एक land जो एक complete था, वो अब टुकड़ों में. So you can see how conceptually potent the work is. Yeah. I was just trying to show something. I mean, what has she done? She's reduced the house concept to a simple childlike form of a house. But each one has meanings which are extremely private, personal, political, social. And each one she plays with this kind of a meaning. Can't go into everyone, but I showed you the first one, which was the most potent for me, and I've written extensively on that work as well. It is totally used with because the series is how the mind works. Okay? So series and breaking a concept into many different works, like 26 works or 24 works is important for me. And then it is always written as a prayer. Yeah, but without flash. Okay. We are going to move. I will come back to that. If you could tell us a little on your works, don't just occupy space. They also they completely transform the space. So the space conception of the work is extremely important. And you will see, you will just be completely blown away by how Gigi has worked. But before I give him the mic, I want to say, every time we do an exhibition here, we completely change the look of this space. So now, you don't see this very huge room or gallery room here, because we have built these extra walls, and we have fitted an elevator like it would be in a mall or any other place when elevators are fitted. Okay, Gigi, I'm going to tell you now. Yeah. So please, if you can listen to him.
First of all, I'm stunned by the crowd in front of me. It's really unusual for that. Thank you for having me come here. Hello. So I do work alone with cityscapes, architecture, planning, and social space.
Excuse me, can I have a suggestion to make? since we have so many of us, if we split in twos, I think it will be better. Because here the people at the back cannot hear the tone.
So do you want to have
Please organize that, that will be lovely.
Okay, we can do that if one group is ready to go the other side.
Yes, I think that.
Okay, just hold on.
So, I do work a lot with the architectural spaces, and my practice differs from painting, photography, video, sculptural installations, and so on. And there are many mediums I use. And I've been documenting and observing the city really since last many years. And so most of these works which actually are coming from specifically from the Delhi and its context.
I hold it.
So this particular one, it's called the Elevation from the Subcontinent, which was exhibited in Venice Biennale in 2011 India Pavilion. So that is how it was made. It was especially kind of conceived and conceptualized for that particular interiors of different households, which actually have various houses, middle class, lower middle class, and different kinds of houses. And you reach the rooftop where you see the whole city, and you come down. It's a ride about 10 minutes, and you go to the car parking, then you go even further down to the underground. So this is what we're going to experience. And actually,
anyone cross the swimming pool?
Everything is moving except one.
so I think it's good now.
That he's talking about the Mangalorean tile factory and how the production of the Mangalorean tile was a way to keep this conquest going and invest in the people by giving them jobs and converting them and making them part of that whole thing. Then this Basel missionary was taken different than the Basel missionaries. When they came, they wanted to extract everything they could take to make India poor and make Britain rich. So what they did was they looked at these yoga performers or the Haj yogis who were quite an exotic element, for them. And so they decided, now this is another kind of thing that was happening. So what Talur does, he talks about one kind of conquest which the Haj yogis do. They conquer thirst, sleep,